After the age of 50, our bodies start sending subtle messages. Sometimes it's stiffness in the morning. Other times, it's the need to get up at night more often than we used to. Many people chalk these changes up to just getting older. But the truth is that not all of them are inevitable. In fact, there's a very common food that could be quietly pushing your body toward more inflammation and putting extra stress on your urinary system. It's not rare, exotic, or unusual. It's something you'll find in kitchens across America every single day. When I first learned about this connection, I was surprised because it wasn't about an obviously unhealthy choice like candy or soda. This was a staple, something many people believe is part of a balanced diet. Yet research has shown that over time, certain compounds in it can trigger inflammatory processes and irritate the urinary tract, especially in bodies that are already dealing with the natural changes of aging. For some, the effect is gradual, barely noticeable at first. For others, it builds until discomfort becomes a part of daily life. The tricky part is that this food doesn't always cause immediate symptoms. That's why many don't make the connection between what's on their plate and how their body feels. But here's the encouraging part. Awareness and a few simple changes can make a huge difference in how you feel and function. In my own experience and through stories I've heard from others, making adjustments in consumption and preparation has reduced discomfort, improved mobility, and even supported better sleep. Before we go further, I want to promise you something. At the end of this conversation, I'll share a powerful bonus tip. It's not just about avoiding the problem. It's about actively supporting your body's natural defenses against inflammation. It's something you can easily integrate into your daily routine, and it works hand in hand with what we're discussing today. Understanding the problem is important because inflammation and urinary health are deeply connected to overall well-being. Chronic, low-level inflammation has been linked to a range of health challenges, from reduced energy to joint stiffness. And urinary problems, if left unaddressed, can disrupt sleep, increase fatigue, and impact your confidence in social situations. These are not just inconveniences. They affect the way you experience life. The food I'm talking about is especially common in typical American breakfasts, quick lunches, and snacks. It's convenient, versatile, and often marketed as a healthy choice. Yet what most people don't realize is that its effect on the body changes as we age. After 50, our metabolism, hormone balance, and kidney function naturally shift, making us more sensitive to certain compounds. What was harmless in our 30s might now cause irritation or trigger the immune system into a mild but persistent defensive state. I've spoken with nutritionists and wellness experts who agree. It's not about fear or strict elimination, but about smart, informed choices. The difference between enjoying a food and suffering from it often comes down to how it's prepared and how much of it you consume. This is why knowing the details matters so much. It's like having a roadmap for your body's unique needs at this stage of life. As we explore this topic, I want you to remember that your body is adaptable. Even if you've been eating this food every day for decades, your system can respond positively when you make adjustments. Small, consistent changes can lead to noticeable improvements in comfort, mobility, and even mood. You don't need extreme diets or expensive supplements, just the right information and a willingness to listen to your body's feedback. In a moment, we'll look closely at how exactly this food starts to cause trouble in the first place. This is one of the most important parts of the discussion because once you understand the mechanism, you'll see exactly why certain preparation methods or amounts make such a difference. Ignoring it won't just limit your results, it could also lead to ongoing irritation that quietly chips away at your quality of life. One of the most surprising things I discovered when diving into this subject is just how subtly this food begins to affect the body. The changes often start small, almost invisible. Inside, certain components interact with our digestive and urinary systems in ways that can quietly set the stage for problems. Over time, these interactions can influence how well your kidneys filter, how your bladder responds, and how your immune system reacts to everyday triggers. Scientists studying aging and nutrition have found that after 50, our cells don't repair themselves quite as quickly, and the balance of certain hormones shifts. These natural changes can make us more vulnerable to the effects of foods we once tolerated without issue. The food in question contains elements that, for some people, increase the body's production of substances linked to inflammation. This can mean swelling in tissues, greater sensitivity in the urinary tract, and even a reduced ability to fully flush out irritants. To put it simply, the body becomes less forgiving. What you might have eaten without a second thought 20 years ago could now be quietly encouraging an environment where discomfort takes root. That's why paying attention matters so much. For example, some people notice subtle changes, needing to use the bathroom more often at night, a lingering sense of heaviness in the lower abdomen, or just a general stiffness in the morning. While these signs don't prove that a single food is to blame, they can be clues that your diet deserves a closer look. It's worth noting that even so-called healthier versions of this food, those labeled as low-fat, reduced sodium, or organic, can have the same problematic compounds. The issue isn't just about added ingredients, it's about the food itself and how it interacts with a body that's changing over time. In many American households, this food is served in a way that actually magnifies its inflammatory potential, often without anyone realizing it. What's particularly interesting is that preparation plays a bigger role than most people think. Studies suggest that high-temperature cooking or certain processing methods can increase the concentration of compounds that irritate the urinary tract or contribute to inflammation. This means that how it's cooked or stored could be just as important as how often you eat it. I've seen firsthand how people's lives change when they understand this. A friend of mine, who was dealing with frequent nighttime bathroom trips, simply altered how she prepared her meals and reduced her intake of this food. Within weeks, her sleep improved, her energy returned, and she felt more in control of her health. She didn't have to cut it out entirely. She just needed to work with her body instead of against it. This is why understanding the mechanism behind the problem is so important. It's not about fear. It's about empowerment. Once you know what's happening inside, you can take specific, practical steps to reduce harm and support your body's natural resilience. And that's where the real transformation happens, when knowledge meets action. The next insight we'll explore is one of the most important yet, because it deals with the early warning signs that your body might already be signaling. Overlooking these signs won't just slow your progress, it could also keep you stuck with the same discomforts you've been trying to overcome, all without you realizing the connection. One of the most important steps toward protecting your health is learning to recognize the signals your body sends before a problem becomes serious. With this particular food, those signals can be subtle at first, so subtle that many people ignore them or mistake them for unrelated issues. But the truth is, the body has an incredible way of communicating when something isn't working in its favor. For example, one of the earliest signs that this food may be causing trouble is a change in urinary patterns. Perhaps you find yourself needing to go more frequently during the day or waking up in the middle of the night, even when you haven't been drinking excessive amounts of water before bed. You might notice a lingering sense of urgency, or that your bladder doesn't feel completely empty afterward. These sensations can be frustrating, and while they're not always linked to diet, they're worth paying attention to. Another sign is related to inflammation. This might show up as stiffness in your joints when you wake up, a feeling of heaviness in your hands or feet, or swelling that takes longer than usual to subside after physical activity. Sometimes, it's even as simple as feeling unusually fatigued without a clear reason. Many people assume these aches and pains are a natural part of aging, but in some cases, they're a direct response to what we're eating. What makes this tricky is that these signs often appear gradually. One week you're feeling fine, the next you notice a little more stiffness, and a few months later, it's become your new normal. That slow shift is what makes it easy to overlook the cause. However, once you start making the connection between certain meals and how you feel afterward, you begin to notice patterns. And patterns can point you directly toward changes that will improve your quality of life. Listening to your body in this way requires a bit of curiosity and patience. It might mean keeping a simple journal of what you eat and any symptoms you notice. It doesn't have to be complicated. Just jot down your meals and how you feel during the day and at night. Over time, this can reveal clear links between the frequency or preparation of this food and your discomfort. What's truly encouraging is that recognizing these early signs gives you a powerful advantage. The sooner you identify a potential trigger, the easier it is to adjust and see results. In fact, many people find that by making just 1 or 2 targeted changes, they regain comfort, sleep more soundly, and feel more energetic within weeks. It's important to remember that not all discomfort is inevitable with age. The body is constantly adapting, and when you give it the right conditions, it has an amazing capacity to recover and thrive. That's why paying attention to these signals isn't just a health tip. It's a way to stay in tune with yourself and prevent small problems from becoming bigger ones. In a moment, we'll uncover a factor that often amplifies the impact of this food without people realizing it. It's something that can turn a manageable situation into a more persistent challenge, and understanding it could be the key to protecting your long-term well-being. Overlooking this next insight won't just limit your progress, it could also lead to effects that continue to chip away at your comfort and vitality over time. One of the most overlooked aspects of this issue is how preparation and storage can transform a food from relatively harmless to unexpectedly problematic. Many people focus only on the type or brand of the food they choose, assuming that if it's labeled as natural or low-fat, they're safe. But in reality, the way it's cooked, processed, and even kept in your kitchen can make all the difference. High-heat cooking methods, for example, can increase certain compounds that irritate the urinary tract and promote inflammation. Frying, grilling, or even baking at very high temperatures may change the structure of the food in ways that make it more challenging for the body to handle, especially after the age of 50, when our systems naturally become less efficient at filtering and recovery. Over time, this can create a cumulative effect, where even moderate consumption begins to feel like too much. Storage is another surprising factor. Foods kept for long periods, particularly those exposed to air, moisture, or fluctuating temperatures, can develop changes in flavor, texture, and chemical composition. While these changes may not make the food unsafe in an immediate sense, they can subtly affect how your body reacts to it. In some cases, the very convenience of keeping this food stocked and ready to eat works against you. There's also the issue of processing before it even reaches your home. Many versions of this food, especially those found in fast food meals or prepackaged snacks, have undergone industrial methods that add preservatives, sodium, or other compounds meant to extend shelf life or enhance taste. These additions can amplify the very effects we're trying to minimize, creating a double challenge for your body. The encouraging news is that with awareness comes the ability to choose better. By selecting fresher versions, opting for gentler cooking methods like steaming or slow simmering, and storing foods properly, you can significantly reduce their potential to cause discomfort. Even small adjustments, such as avoiding overly crisp or charred textures, can make a noticeable difference in how you feel. It's worth noting that preparation isn't just about reducing harm. It's also about enhancing the nutritional value of what you eat. Certain cooking methods help preserve vitamins, minerals, and other beneficial compounds that support overall health. When you prepare food in ways that work with your body rather than against it, you're not just avoiding problems, you're actively promoting well-being. I've seen people regain a sense of control over their health simply by making these changes. One person I know didn't realize that her preferred cooking style was part of the issue. By switching to lower temperature methods and using fresh ingredients more often, she experienced less discomfort, better digestion, and improved energy levels. The takeaway is clear. Your kitchen habits can be as influential as your food choices. Paying attention to preparation and storage isn't about making life harder. It's about making your body's job easier, so it can focus on keeping you active and comfortable. In our next focus, we'll talk about substitutions that can satisfy your taste buds while supporting your long-term health. Ignoring this next step could mean missing out on one of the most effective ways to improve results and avoid unwanted setbacks. Making adjustments to preparation methods can be a powerful step, but for many people, the next challenge is finding satisfying alternatives that don't compromise health. Too often, someone decides to remove or reduce a problematic food, only to replace it with something equally, or even more, troublesome. This is where informed substitutions become essential. The first thing to understand is that a good substitution should do more than just fill the gap on your plate. It should also work with your body's needs at this stage of life, offering nutrients that support joint health, kidney function, and overall vitality. That's why the best approach is to think about what your body is gaining, not just what it's losing. For example, if you're reducing this particular food to lower inflammation and protect urinary health, look for options that are naturally rich in anti-inflammatory compounds. Fresh vegetables, especially leafy greens, are an excellent choice because they provide antioxidants, fiber, and minerals without the compounds that can irritate your system. Whole grains like quinoa or brown rice can also make a great swap, as they help maintain steady energy levels and support digestion. Protein is another consideration. Many people turn to heavily processed replacements when removing a certain food, but these can come with their own set of issues, including high sodium and chemical additives. Instead, lean toward whole food protein sources such as legumes, nuts, seeds, and fish, rich in omega-3 fatty acids. These choices can help balance the body's inflammatory response while keeping meals satisfying. Texture and flavor are important too. One reason substitutions fail is that they don't satisfy the same sensory expectations, which can lead to cravings and eventual relapse into old habits. Experiment with herbs, spices, and gentle cooking techniques to bring out the best in your alternative foods. The goal is not to mimic the original exactly, but to create meals that are genuinely enjoyable in their own right. It's also helpful to think about cultural and seasonal eating habits. In many parts of the U.S., convenience foods dominate, and making a shift often requires a bit more planning. Shopping at farmers' markets or focusing on in-season produce can not only make substitutions healthier, but also more affordable and flavorful. This approach keeps meals fresh and varied, reducing the temptation to revert to old staples. One thing to be cautious about is the health halo effect, where a product is marketed as better for you, but the actual ingredient list tells a different story. Words like organic, natural, or low-fat don't always mean low in inflammatory potential. Reading labels and understanding what's inside your food is just as important with substitutions as it is with the original item. The encouraging part is that successful substitutions don't just remove a negative, they add a positive. People who have made thoughtful swaps often find that they gain more energy, sleep better, and even notice improvements in skin health and mood. The benefits extend beyond urinary comfort and reduced inflammation. They touch almost every aspect of daily living. Now that we've explored how to replace this food without losing satisfaction or nutritional value, it's time to focus on something even more essential: understanding the right way to handle the original food when you do choose to have it. This next insight is one of the most important for protecting your long-term health, and ignoring it won't just limit your progress. It could allow small but persistent problems to remain, affecting your well-being over time. When it comes to this particular food, complete avoidance isn't always necessary. In fact, for many people, enjoying it occasionally can fit into a healthy lifestyle, provided it's handled in the right way. The key lies in preparation, portion control, and pairing it with other foods that support your body's natural balance. First, let's address portion size. After 50, the body's metabolism and filtration systems work differently than they did in younger years. What once seemed like a harmless serving may now be more than your body can process comfortably. Moderating your portion means giving your system a manageable amount to work with, reducing the risk of inflammation and urinary irritation. Preparation is just as critical. As we've already discussed, high-heat cooking methods can intensify the compounds in this food that challenge the body. Instead, try gentle cooking techniques like steaming, poaching, or simmering. These methods preserve more nutrients while minimizing the creation of irritants. If you choose to bake or roast, keeping the temperature moderate and avoiding charring can make a noticeable difference. Pairing this food with certain ingredients can also help offset its potential downsides. Foods rich in antioxidants, such as berries, leafy greens, and brightly colored vegetables, can help counteract inflammation. Including plenty of water-rich produce can support urinary health by promoting better hydration and flushing of the system. Even the way you season your food matters. Herbs like turmeric, parsley, and ginger have natural anti-inflammatory properties that complement a balanced diet. Mindful timing can also play a role. Having this food earlier in the day rather than late at night gives your body more time to process it before rest. This can be especially helpful for those who experience nighttime urinary urgency or discomfort. Now, as promised, here's the bonus tip I mentioned earlier. There is one simple habit that can make a significant difference in how your body responds to potentially inflammatory foods. Incorporating a daily serving of omega-3 rich sources like flax seeds, chia seeds, walnuts, or fatty fish, such as salmon. Omega-3s have been shown to help regulate the body's inflammatory response, making it easier to enjoy occasional indulgences without the same level of discomfort. This isn't a cure-all, but it's a practical, natural way to give your body extra support. This approach is about empowerment, not restriction. When you understand your body's needs and the effects of certain foods, you can make confident choices that allow you to enjoy life without unnecessary discomfort. It's a mindset shift, from avoiding problems to actively supporting your health every day. The knowledge you now have is more than information. It's a tool for change. By applying these insights, you can reduce discomfort, improve energy, and protect your health in ways that ripple out into every part of your life. Share what you've learned, encourage those around you to listen to their own bodies, and remember that small, consistent actions build the foundation for lasting well-being. If you take these steps seriously, you'll be giving your body the chance to function at its best while still enjoying the foods you love. But if you overlook them, you risk keeping subtle issues in play that could hold you back from feeling truly vibrant and comfortable.